I'm currently working with a charity on developing how they use social tools to enhance not only their internal communication, but at the same time their external communication. And the reason we're doing this is because there are two things. Firstly, it is incredibly powerful to be able to show who you are as an organisation using these tools. And the second thing is, lots of organisations, especially in the charity sector, are constrained by funding. So that means you won't necessarily have a PR budget, you probably won't have a marketing budget. But interestingly, these tools, such as Twitter or YouTube, whatever you choose, Instagram, they are ways of showing what you do. So the interesting thing is, could you harness those tools to show what you're talking about internally so that people outside the organisation can see what you're doing? Now, this is not about campaigns. Campaigns are wonderful, but they have a beginning and they have an end. So it's normally a marketing thing. So if you want to hand over your social media to someone to do that, then that's one thing. I'm talking about developing sustainable communications internally and externally using these technologies. It's quite transformational. So if that sounds scary, it doesn't need to be. The way I've approached it is to take an experimental approach, which is you set up an experiment. Maybe you find someone in the organisation and you say, well, if they did this with this tool, what would we expect to see? Do it openly, share what happens as they go, and at the end of it, have a look at what happened. You'll learn something. Either it hasn't worked, or that person says they need some more time, they need some more understanding of how to use a tool, or maybe something really good happens. But I think experiments can be really good at taking you into the unknown in a measured and reasonably safe way. So that's a bit of work I've been doing, and we're a few months in. Progress is good. We've had some really excellent results, actually. But I think there has to be some understanding that this stuff takes time, and I think things like ROI become, they've become more difficult. In actual fact, they can stop people doing things. So I think there's an opportunity here to use these tools to communicate more effectively internally and externally. And I'd urge people and organisations to look at how they might be able to do that. It can be incredibly liberating. It is more about transparency, and I certainly wouldn't get stuck on privacy and security, because you're obviously not going to share stuff that you shouldn't be sharing. And if you do, then you can deal with that. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. Focus on the fact that the great stuff you do internally has a huge value externally. You might get more funding as a result of it, you'll get more followers, you'll make wider connections. Your world will get bigger and it'll become a lot more interesting for you and potentially a lot more lucrative, and you have more impact with the work you do.